everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we're making this adorable roly-poly panda quilt. This was so much fun to make. We are making a bunch of circles, full circles, and half circles to make this piece. We are making each one and then we're sewing them all together, and then we're making fun panda faces to have them peeking out behind each circle. So it's a lot of fun. It's very colorful and very fun to make. So I'll get into the supplies we need, and I'll get into some of the frequently asked questions, and then we'll get into making this beautiful blanket. So courtesy of Red Heart Yarns, they have provided the yarn for us today. They treat me so well, so thank you, Red Heart, for providing the yarn for this project. I'm using 14 different colors today. I have them all piled up over here, but I will have a list of the colors in the description of this video. You'll find it, and in the written pattern also. I'll have each specific name. I'll have links to where you can buy that yarn, specific colors. You can use any colors you really want. Just make sure you do have the white and black for the pandas, but every color else on this blanket, you can choose whatever colors you want. So the colors I am using, though, I'm using Jadeite, Delft Blue, Orange, Gray, Light Green, White, Dark Sage, Pool is a blue color, Dark Navy Blue, Gold, Flamingo, a variegated color, which is actually Red Heart Stripes, and then I'm using Turquoise, which is our main color over here, the turquoisey color, and then black, of course. So those are the colors we need. Now, the amount of yarn you're going to need in this project is 1,100 yards, but that's not 1,100 yards of each color. It's just 1,100 yards total. So you can use, you know, you're going to need at least one full skein of your main color, which is the turquoise in this case, and also one full skein of the black, because we are going to use them for all the accessories and the border. So those two I used a full skein of. But every other color is basically just scraps, so you don't need a whole lot of every other color. But this total, all the yarn combined, is 1,100 yards. This measures across this way, sideways here. It's 32 inches across, and then the length from top to bottom is 37 inches. Okay, so that's 82 centimeters across and 94 centimeters long. So that's the measurements of this piece. And we are basically using double crochets and single crochets, and we are using half double crochets in this project as well. Now, those are the, let's see here, what else? Oh, the crochet hook, of course. Let me grab that over here. This is the crochet hook I'll be using today. It's an H size crochet hook, which is 5 millimeters. You can get this super fancy hook at the Etsy shop, Would Be Fancy. It's a really nice ergonomic, hand-carved, handcrafted crochet hook. Just is really nice for arthritic hands. And these are the hooks I've been using all year long. I love these hooks so much. So I'll put a link in the description of this video where you can get this specific hook, and they have different sizes and everything, so you can support a small business there. Also, you're going to need a scissors and a yarn needle, and if you want to measure, you can use your measure tape as well, but just the scissors and yarn needle for sewing everything and sewing in your ends and all that. So those are the supplies you're going to need. Ignore my big mess over there. Also, you can visit my website, YARNutopia.com, where you can get the written pattern for this. I'll have the video tutorial, all the supplies, all the frequently asked questions. Check out the notes section. I'll give a mini tip on how to make this bigger, but you really can't make this, I mean, you can make this bigger just by your own calculations, just adding more full circles and half circles, but I'm not going to put any stitch counts in there, or amount of circles you're going to need for a bigger blanket. You'll kind of just have to figure that out yourself if you want to make this into a queen size or bed size blanket. But this is just a baby blanket size. Also, when you're at my website, make sure to support YARNutopia. There's in the right hand side sidebar, there is a support button. Please support us so we can continue to bring these fabulous crochet tutorials. I hope you enjoy this one today. I have to say a huge thank you to my dad, Fuad, for taking the time to make this video with us. He's our videographer, editor, and photographer for all of our videos at YARNutopia. So make sure you leave him a comment because he works very, very hard. And now let's get started and make this a beautiful roly-poly panda blanket. Okay, to start off, I'm just going to show you how to make each of these pieces, okay? So we are going to make a bunch of large circles and half circles, and then once I demonstrate how to make these two pieces, I'll let you know how many and of which colors to make of each pieces, and then you can go on your own and make your own, and then when we come back later on, I will show you how to attach all your pieces to make a big blanket. So let's start out by making this big circle here, just a full circle. I'm going to set these two aside and grab your main color, the color you're going to use the most of. I'm using turquoise. It's called turquoise. I know a lot of people get this confused. It's a turquoise color called turquoise in Red Heart Super Saver. Okay, and this is going to be my main color. This one I am going to be using a lot of, and it's actually color number 13 in the written pattern. So I'm going to put my short end over my long end, fold this down and pull that through and pull it tight. There's your slip knot. Insert your hook. Remember, H hook, which is 5 millimeters. We are going to start out by chaining 3. So yarn over and pull through. 1, 2, and 3. And now what we're going to do is in this third chain from the hook way over here, we are going to put 10 double crochets in there. So yarn over, go all the way into this first chain right here. Okay, that's the third chain from the hook. Yarn over and pull through. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through those other 2 loops. Okay, that is a double crochet. And that's what we're doing throughout this these circles and half circles. So yarn over, go back into that chain, yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 more loops. Okay, there's our second one. So yarn over, go back in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's 3, here's 4, and 5, 6, 7. You can see I'm working in a circular form as well, kind of turning this around. Okay, here's 8, 9, and 10. Alright, so now we are going to slip stitch to the first double crochet of this round. You can see here that this looks like a chain up 2, 1 and 2. We're going to skip over that and go into this first double crochet stitch. If you need to, you can count back 10 stitches and it will lead you right to this stitch here. Just go under those 2 loops there, the front and back loop, yarn over, pull through, and pull through that loop on your hook. And there's a slip stitch. And that's round 1. Going on to round 2, we are going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to put 2 double crochets into each stitch around. So in this first stitch that we just slip stitched into, let's put 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. Okay, that chain up 2 at the beginning here does not count as anything. Whoop, there you go. You see it there? Where it does not count as anything. So we're putting 2 double crochets in that first stitch there. And then we're hopping to the next stitch and putting 2 double crochets in there as well. And just putting 2 double crochets into every stitch. So at the end of round 2, we will have 20 double crochets. So I'm just going to do that and then I'll meet you up and we'll go on to round 3. Alright, when you have 2 double crochets in each stitch around, count back to 20. Ooh, I got something on my finger here. Weird. Delete that. What is on my hand? Was that on there the whole time? Oh my god. Weird. Alright, once you have 2 double crochets in each stitch around, this is what your piece should look like. We have 20 stitches, so count back 20 and slip stitch into the very first double crochet of this round. So skip over this chain up 2 here, 1, 2, and go into the first double crochet stitch right here. Yarn over, pull through, and through. So you should have 20 stitches. Going on to round 3, let's chain up 2. 1 and 2, that does not count as anything. We're just getting to the height we need. And we are going to put 2 double crochets in the first stitch, So in that same stitch that we just slip stitched into, let's put 2 double crochets in there, 1 and 2. And then in the next stitch, let's just put 1 double crochet. So 1. And then just repeat that sequence all the way around. So in the next stitch right here, put 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And then in the stitch after that, let's put 1 double crochet. Okay, so repeat that sequence all the way around, 2 in the next, 1 in the stitch after that, and repeat. At the end of round 3, we'll have 30 double crochets. So I'm going to repeat that sequence, and then I'll meet you up for round 4. Alright, just finished round 3, so I have 30 double crochets around. Now we're just going to skip over this chain of 2 here and slip stitch into the first double crochet of this round. If you need to, count back 30 and it should lead you to that first double crochet. Just yarn over, pull through, and that closes that round. So going on to round 4 now, we're going to chain up 2. 1 and 2. We're going to increase again, so let's put 2 double crochets in this first stitch that we just slip stitched into. So 1 and 2, whoops, there we go, 2. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 1. And then we're going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 1. And repeat. 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. There we go, and repeat. So at the end of round 4, you should have 40 double crochets. I'm just going to repeat this sequence and then I'll meet you up for our last round, round 5. Alright, finishing round 4 here. I have 40 double crochets around. We are going to slip stitch to the first double crochet. So skip this first and second chain up 2 here, and then go into the first double crochet stitch, yarn over, pull through, and through. Alright, going on to round 5. Let's chain up 2. And we're going to increase one more time. Let's put 2 double crochets in the first stitch that we just slip stitched into. 1 and 2, and then we're just going to put 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches this round. So you can kind of see how that increase was going. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2. Okay, 2 in the same stitch there, and then 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, next stitch is 2, and the next stitch is 3. And repeat. So do that all the way around, and at the end of round 5 you should have 50 double crochets. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you how to fasten off, and we will go on to the next step. Alright, finishing round 5, we have 50 double crochets, so we're going to slip stitch to the first double crochet of this round, exactly how we did every round up until now. So slip stitch to there, and then to fasten off, we're going to chain 1, and for every single piece, this large circles and those half circles, we are going to cut a long strand for sewing. So cut just a longer strand, just like that, and then just continue to pull it through that chain 1 there. We're going to use this for sewing later, so just pull that tight and then kind of stretch out your circle here, just like this a little bit, so that it kind of lays flat. And if you need to, if yours is kind of bowling up like that, don't worry about that. That will flatten out when all your pieces are connected. So there's no need to worry that your pieces are not lying flat. If you want to, you can block them. Just kind of lay them flat, pin them down on a towel, and spray them with water, and they will dry just like this. But if you stretch it out a little bit, it should lie flat, and you should be totally fine. So that is the full circle, okay? Now let's go on to making the half circle. I'm just going to set this aside, And I'm going to use the same color because our main color, color number 13 in the written pattern, is using half circles and full circles. So some of our colors only have full circles, so you'll see that in the pattern as well. And I'll explain all that later, what colors you need to use and how many of each for full circles and half circles. So let's go on to making a half circle. It's very simple here. Let's make a slip knot. I showed you how to make that in the beginning here. Okay, and then let's chain up 3. So yarn over and pull through 1, 2, and 3. And in the third chain from the hook, we are going to put 5 double crochets. So yarn over, go into that third chain from the hook, which is way over here. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, there's our double crochet. So that's 1. Yarn over, go back in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's 2. Here's 3, 4, and 5. Now, instead of working in continuous circles or working in rounds, we are going to chain 2 at this point. 1 and 2, and then we're going to turn our work around just like this, and we're going to work across the top here in each stitch. So this very first stitch right here that we just chained up 2 in, that chain up 2 does not count as anything, so work in this first stitch here. Let's put 2 double crochets in each stitch. So this stitch right here, put 2 double crochets. So remember, a double crochet is yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we have 2 double crochets in there. Jump to the next stitch right here, 2 double crochets in there, and in each stitch across. At the end of row 2, you'll have 10 double crochets. So I'm almost there. You can just continue to watch me. And at the end of this row, we are not working in that chain up 2 stitch. And I'll show you right here. Here's my last stitch. Okay, and at the end here, this looks like a stitch right here. Ignore that. That is not a stitch. You can see 1 and 2 right here. 1 and 2. That is our chain up 2 there. That does not count as anything. So just ignore that. Chain up 2 for the next row. 1 and 2. And turn your work around like this. I don't know why my finger, okay. Now going on to the next row, we are going to, for row 3, increase again. So you can kind of see it's starting to fan out. We are going to make that half circle look. So let's increase very similarly to round 3 of the full circle. We're going to put 2 double crochets in this first stitch. So ignore this chain up 2, it doesn't count as anything. So put 2 double crochets in this first stitch, 1 and 2. And then 1 double crochet in the next stitch. 1. Okay, then 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and we repeat that across. So you'll have 15 double crochets at the end of row 3. So I'm just going to do that. I'm almost there, and then I'll meet you up and we'll go on to row 4. Alright, coming up to the end here, there's just 1 double crochet in our last stitch. Just make sure that you have 15 stitches across here and just ignore this chain up 2 right here. This does not count as a stitch. Even though that looks like a stitch right there, it is not counted. So let's go on to row 4. Let's chain up 2, 1 and 2, turn our work around, and we're going to increase again very similarly to how we increased for round 4 of the full circle. So this is row 4 because we're working in back and forth rows. So let's put 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2. Okay, again, that chain up 2 does not count as a stitch. I'll remind you that for every row. And then the next 2 stitches are going to get 1 double crochet. So 1 and 1. And then just repeat that across. So 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 1. At the end of row 4, we'll have 20 double crochet stitches, and so then you can count those up, and I'm going to repeat this sequence all the way across, and then I'll meet you up for our last row, row 5. Alright, so you can see here we have our shape so far. We have to do one more round to make this as big as we need it to be. Let's chain up 2, turn our work around, put 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Okay, basically repeating round 5 of the full circle, but this is row 5 of the half circle. And then just repeat that across. So 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So at the end of row 5, we are going to have 25 double crochets. We are not going to fasten off at the end of this row though. I have to show you we're going to crochet along the straight edge of this piece. So I'm going to repeat this sequence, and I'm halfway there. So then I'll do that, and then I'll meet you up and we'll crochet across that side. Alright, on my last stitch here, now what we're going to do, so we have 25 stitches across here, from here to here. So now what we're going to do is turn this upside down, okay, and we're going to crochet, single crochet along this edge to kind of straighten it out, because it kind of just looks like a fan right now. So we're going to kind of push this like this, and this side up like this, and make this more of a half circle. So we're going to chain 1, okay, and we're going to single crochet basically wherever your hook fits. I'm going to go right into this side of this stitch here. Go in, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, that's a single crochet. I'll show you again. We're going to go down this edge here around our double crochet stitches, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, and then basically wherever your hook fits, you can just single crochet. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm going to do that all the way across here, and you can continue watching me, because when you get to the center here, I'll show you where I'm going to put my stitches. Okay, you can see I'm not putting too many stitches though to make it like super bulky or bunched up or anything. Just equally across here. And right in the center circle where we worked in, I'm going to work a single crochet in there. And then we have this straggler right here. I am going to work over the top of that so I don't have to sew that in later, because I do recommend when you finish making your circles and your half circles and everything, if you do have loose ends, you should sew them in. But the ones that, you know, we cut the long strands at the end, we are going to use those for sewing, and we will have to, we can't sew those ones in obviously because we need to use them later when we attach all of our pieces. So just keep going. I'm almost done. Just a couple more stitches here. There we go. Alright, last stitch, we're going to slip stitch into this first stitch here. So go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And then chain 1, cut your yarn kind of long for sewing, like I just mentioned, and pull that all the way through, and then pull that tight. And if you have a little bit of extra straggler here, we can cut that off. Careful with the scissors though. Okay, and there you go. And then you can stretch this again like we did the full circle. Just stretch it and make sure that it looks like a half circle. And if it doesn't, you can block this. Remember how I said to just shape it the way you need it to be shaped, like a half circle, and then pin it down to a towel and spray it with some water and let it dry. So that's the half circle. So we made a full circle and a half circle. So now I'm going to tell you how many of each piece in each color you need to make. Alright, so for color number 1, this is Jadeite. You can use regular jade in Red Heart Super Saver, but this is Red Heart with Love Jadeite. You are going to need to make 3 full circles and 1 half circle. Okay, so if you want to write this down, you can, or follow along with a written pattern. For color number 2, I am using Delft Blue in Super Saver, Red Heart Super Saver, Delft Blue, and you are going to need 2 full circles and 2 half circles for that one. Then for color number 3, we are using Carrot in Red Heart Super Saver, and you are going to need 2 full circles and 2 half circles. For color number 4, you are going to use gray, or I'm using charcoal specifically. I didn't have gray heather on hand, so this is Red Heart Super Saver charcoal. And you're going to need 2 full circles and 1 half circle on that color. Then we have color number 5. I'm using this light green color. I think it's called something Time, but I just use this ball of yarn. It's a Red Heart Super Saver color. If you know the specific color, please leave a comment to this, or I'll just look it up and it'll be in the written pattern and I'll edit it later. So I need 2 full circles, let's see, color light green, 2 full circles and 2 half circles. You don't have to use the same exact colors as me, but something similar to these is fine. So then color number 6 is white, and those will be our pandas. So make sure you make 7 white ones. You for sure have to have white in here because pandas are white and black, so we'll add the black later when we make the full blanket. So make sure you have 7 full circles of white in this project, and every other color, all the colors, you can use whatever colors you want. Now I have this dark, I think this is called Dark Time. I will look that up as well. I only used, again, just a ball of yarn for this one. This is a Red Heart Super Saver color, and you can use dark green, and I made 3 full circles and 1 half circle on the dark green color. Okay, then the next color is color number 8. We are using Pool. I don't have my label on my Pool, but this is one of my favorite Red Heart Super Saver colors, and this one is called Pool. You are going to need 3 full circles of color number 8. Okay, that's Pool for me. Then you're going to need for color number 9 is Navy. I'm using Soft Navy, and my label is super wrinkly here. I'm using Soft Navy here, and this is Red Heart Super Saver. And I made, let's see, color number 9, 3 full circles and 1 half circle. Then our next color, color number 10, is gold. You are only going to need 3 full circles of that one. So color number 10, you do not need any half circles of that. Then color 11 is Flamingo. Here is Flamingo, Red Heart Super Saver. Flamingo. It's like a light pink, almost salmon-y color. I really like this color a lot too. And this one you'll need, let's see, color number 11, 3 full circles and 1 half circle. And then I'm going to use Red Heart Super Saver stripes. You're going to need a variegated color. You don't have to use stripes itself. There are other variegated colors out there. I just like the color change in this one. And this one I got these pinks and purples on mine, so that's really cool. And I'm using Polo stripe. And so you can use whatever variegated color you want. And for color number 12, you're going to need 2 full circles and 1 half circle. Okay, and then lastly comes to our main color, which I'm using turquoise. Where did my turquoise go? Oopsie, I don't have my label. Here we go. turquoise. I showed you this earlier. Turquoise is my main color, and that's Red Heart Super Saver. You are going to need 14 full circles and 10 half circles. So that's your main color, where the top half of our blanket. And you can see all the pictures. Yeah, now you can look at my mess here of all of my yarn and this great mess that we have created. So yes, good luck crocheting. If you need to, you can rewind this. You can check out the written pattern to see which number and which colors I'm using and what number they are, because I did, you know, number, this is color number 13. It's our main color. Then we have our variegated color, which is number 12. Flamingo is 11. Gold is 10. Navy is 9. Pool is 8. Dark green is 7. Then white is color number 6. Then we have color number 5 is light green. Color number 4 is gray. Color number 3 is orange. Color number 2 is Delft blue. And color number 1 is jadeite. So those are all of the colors in their order, and I'll put on there, excuse me, of how many of each you need. So good luck, everybody! Alright, welcome back. We have all of our pieces made now. Once you are at this point and you have this big giant mess of half circles and full circles, we can start sewing everything together. So we're just going to start off. Now, you'll have to refer to the photo I'm about to show you. So refer to that photo, and if you needed to, pause that and see how the layout should be for each row, and I'll show you how to start off and attach these now. So we're going to start with the half circles of the turquoise color, and we'll need 5 of these in the top row. So let's grab those, and we're going to put them with the U shape downward. Okay, so this is the top row, and we're going to line them up just like this. Let's get all of this out of the way. Sorry. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we're going to line those up like that. That's the top row. And then we're going to work our way down, because we are going to stack everything on top of everything as we work down this piece. So what we need to do is grab our yarn needle, and we're going to start with these two here. We're going to sew these together. Okay, it's going to be quite simple. We're just going to kind of tack them together. So we're just going to start from this side and go into the stitch here on this one. Okay, kind of whip stitch those together. And then just go back into this one. Okay, pull tight. And then you want to always end on the other side, the back side of your blanket. Okay, so that's the back side. We're going to flip this over, and then to fasten this off, we're going to go underneath a couple of the stitches. Keep our finger in that loop, and then come back through that loop, and then pull. And you can do that once or twice. It'll be secure. Okay, and then to weave in this end, because we're not going to need it anymore, we're just going to go underneath some of the stitches of the piece. Okay, and you can go back and forth to make sure it is secure. Okay, just like that. Stretch it out and trim that yarn. Perfect. Okay, and then just move on to the next. So flip this back over, make sure nothing gets twisted or anything. Just move on to the next one. Grab the straggler, yarn your needle, and go into the stitch of this one, and then back through this one. And just at that point, because we're just attaching at that point, the next row is where it's at. That's where it's going to get a little trickier. So I'm just going around and around, ending on the inside, or the back side. Flip this around, go underneath a stitch or two, keeping my finger in the loop, and going back through the loop, and pulling, and then weaving in that end. Okay, so that's how we're going to do the top row. So I have 2 more half circles that I have to attach here. Let me cut this straggler. Okay, flip everything the right way here. Okay, make sure nothing gets twisted along the way. And then, so now I have these 2 left to do, so I'm going to attach these 2, and then I'll meet you up and we'll start attaching the full circles on the next row. Alright, so I have these 5 pieces set out here and attached them all. So once you have that all attached, you can measure this. It should be about 30 inches. Let me make sure that I have, yep. There it is, 30 inches across, okay? So for 5 of those, because they are 6 inches across each. So and there's 5, so 6 times 5 is 30. Awesome. Now, going on to the next row here, we're going to move this up. And the next row, we need 1 half circle on this side, going this way now. Okay, just like that. And we are going to use this strand that's attached to this half circle. So, because we didn't use this because it was the first half circle here, so we're going to put this one down right here, and we're going to use this strand to sew that across here, just till here. Okay, so that's the side, and then the opposite side over here needs a half circle as well. So we're going to use this strand on this piece to sew right up to there, and we're gonna sew along here. Okay, just like that. So just make sure that the points on each piece are touching right here. Just line them up like that, and then we'll sew those down. Okay, so that's on each side. Then in the middle here, we need 4 full circles, and for row 2, it's just these turquoise colors here. So just set them up that they are centered in each of these little valley areas between the half circles. So for row 2 of these pieces, we're just going to line these up and make sure that these are touching. Okay, so this is like in the center of this one. You can kind of just eyeball it that this is the center of this half circle so that these 2 seam together at this point here. Okay, and when we sew on this full circle, we'll sew it from here, this little valley area right here. We'll start sewing here, and then we'll go down this edge here, and then we'll sew these 2 together. These 2 pieces, we'll sew them together here. Okay, so that's how those will be sewn together. So then on this side here, we're going to add another circle. So you're kind of going to overlap on these, but you really have to keep an eyeball on it that you are attaching the 2 on the second row together right here. You're attaching them in the middle of this half circle up here. So you really have to line it up nicely. And like I said, you can refer to that image that I posted in here. You can check out the blog. Also, YARNutopia.com will have the line up on how they should be attached. But see how my little half circle or my full circles are kind of bowling up? Once I flatten them and sew them together, they will lay flat and they will look nice. So just make sure, and you can like stretch your circles a little bit out to make them more flat. And just line them up nicely, and we're going to start sewing. So let's grab our yarn needle here and grab this piece here, and just like I showed you how to attach those ones, it's very similar. Sorry for my mess here, let me move this over. So we're going to line this half circle up right here and make sure it's not crooked or anything. It goes right down the center of this other half circle, and we're just going to go in to this piece. Okay, and then once you have it in there, we're just going to go along the edge. Okay, and you can just go in and out. Just try not to get your yarn all tangled or anything, and it's kind of difficult to show on camera. But you get the gist. Just sew it on, going back and forth, and also line it up. If you need to, use pins or something, or use your other hand and just maneuver it how you need to get into each stitch, just like this. Perfect. See how that's lining up nicely? Right down the center there, it's going to end right about there. Okay, and we're almost there. And if you want to, you can leave this strand to the back right when you finish, right when you're at that point there. I'm just going to leave this in the back, and then I'm going to grab this one, this full circle, okay, and I'm going to yarn my needle with that. Okay, now this full circle, what I'm going to do is start over here. Okay, I'm going to start to the right on this one here. So we're going to go all the way around down to here. So like 3/4 of this thing is going to be sewn down. So we're going to attach it right about there. So you want this top part to be lined up with the top edge, and you want to have this part starting at the center of this half circle. And we're just going to go in right about there, and then we're just going to go up and around this circle. Okay, and once you get through, you know, a few rows, it's going to be much easier, much faster, but these first 2 rows are always the most difficult, so just bear with me here. Okay, and then you want to make sure that these are all lined up too at the bottom here, so that this one isn't too much longer than this one. So really have to manipulate this, but it should measure out because these are 6-inch squares, or circles, sorry, 6-inch circles and 6-inch half circles. So I'm just going across here, and then I'll show you how to sew it to this piece down here. And you want to make sure that there's no opening or hole right there. See that little tiny hole? I want to make sure that that's closed up. So I'm going to get there, and I'm going to close that. You don't want any gaps in this piece. Okay, awesome. It's really lining up. It's looking nice. Okay, then let's go through here. Okay, so at this point, you can see I'm on this side now. We're going to go through and around and kind of just close that. Now the next row circles are going to come up to here. Okay, so you will have that covered. So no worries on how it really looks because it's going to be covered. So then we just want to end on the inside, or the back side of this work right there, just like that. I'll make it look nice. And it looks fabulous. Okay, and then we're going to turn this over, and you can tie those 2 in a knot. So what I'm going to do is kind of trail this back up to this piece here, and then tie these 2 long strands in a knot in the back. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this a little shorter, and then yarn my needle with those 2 strands, and then just sew them in the back. Stretch it out, make sure it looks good, and cut. Okay, then flip it back over, make sure nothing's twisted, and it looks good. Okay, so now I have these 3 circles to do. So I'm going to sew these on just like I sewed on this piece here. So we're going to line this up with this one, make sure that this strand is over here, and we're going to start on this side in the center of this one, going all the way around to here, and make sure that these are butt up against each other right here, and then sew those down, and then tie this one off in a knot. Okay, I won't have 2 strands to tie in a knot. It'll be similar to how we tied up these ones, where we just tie them in a knot, how I showed you earlier. So you can tie this one off and then go on to the next one and attach this one and this one and this last one here. Okay, so these will be like this. Okay, and then this one will be over here like this, just the half circle. So it'll come down to here. So I'm going to sew on these 4 pieces left here, and then once these are all attached, we'll go on to the next row. Alright, so I just attached each piece here, as you can see on row 2 of the attaching, and this is what it looks like. And while you're attaching, just make sure to sew in all your ends as you go. So this is the back side here, and you can see that these are coming up. If you want to, you can sew these down, but just make sure when you are changing color, because when we go, you know, down this piece, the colors will change, and then the colors won't match up. So you don't want to see those stitches on this side, on your front side of your work. So just keep that in mind when you are sewing your pieces together. But I'm just going to leave those, that's totally fine. They're just little like pocket kind of things, which is totally fine. So now going on to the third row, we're just repeating rows 2 and 3 then for the rest of this until we get to the bottom row, which is opposite of the first row. So I'll show you, you can just follow along with the photo as a guide, but this next row is just using full circles, so no half circles on this one. And we're starting in each of these little upside down V little valley areas here. So we're going to start here. Okay, and we're going to come all the way up to where this one ends under here. I don't know if you can see very well, but this one ends right there. So we're going to start and put this one, line it up right to that. Okay, so that there is no gaps or anything. So just make sure you line that up there. And then line each one next to it. Okay, so there should be 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and that'll come all the way to the very edge of this piece here. So it'll line up with this edge right there. Okay, and that's how row 3 is. Then the next row, so we're just going to sew them on just like we sewed on these pieces all together. So I'm not going to show you any more sewing. You can do that on your own. Just refer to that photo, like I said, or the written pattern. Then the next row after this is where we change color. So you can see I'm going to put this half circle, because we're repeating row 2, the layout. It starts with a half circle, ends with a half circle, and then each color in between. So we're going to add a different color now, this jadeite color. And then a panda is going to go here, so we're going to do a white circle here. After we have all these circles all done and attached, I will show you how to make the pandas on the white circles, but I'm not going to show you that at this moment. We're going to attach everything first and then make our pandas. So then the next circle after that is a turquoise, and a turquoise, and then a half circle turquoise. So that is then row 4. So we're going to start changing color, and you can see in the written pattern which rows are which colors, and I'll put all that sequence in there. So just sew all these together using those methods that I just showed you, and tying them off. Make sure to sew in your ends as you go so that you don't have to sew them in at the very end and give yourself a headache. But I'm just going to continue sewing, and once I have all of my rows done, of everything being attached, and we have one big large piece of fabric, we are going to then make the pandas, and we have to do a border, and then we'll be finished. So we have a little ways to go, but good luck attaching your pieces, and I'll meet you up when everything is all attached. Alright, so I just wanted to show you I sewed on all these pieces here like this, so just like how we repeated, you know, rows 2 and 3, just follow along with that photo like I had said. But the very last row, you want your half circles on the very last row to go this way, okay, so it's going to go up on top of these pieces, and you want it to go right across the center line of these pieces here, so you want it to just hit there, go to the edge here. Make sure your edge is just straight, and then just add those pieces, okay, one by one. And now you can sew these on just like you sewed on these bigger pieces, these full circles. You can just take the yarn, okay, and just go from this edge all the way around to this edge, okay, just like that. So we're just going to go into the center. Okay, make sure you line it up to the center here, down. Okay, so it's right about there. And then just go in and out. And that's what I've been doing. And now that I've been doing this for so many circles and half circles, I'm kind of going a little faster across here. So we're just going in and then out. And just kind of holding my hand down. It's nice to have this table in front of me so I can have this on the table and not have to deal with it like on my lap or anything. So just make sure you straighten this out right here. And just sew this piece on just like this. And I'm doing it a little faster for the camera, but you can do it, you know, take your time and sew these on, and then sew in your ends as you go, like I had said too. Okay, so when you come back to the edge here, you want to end on the inside. Okay. And then we're just going to go under a few stitches there, and then come back through that loop and pull tight, and then weave in this end. Okay, just like that. And then you can cut this. Be careful with your scissors. Stretch it out, and there's one. So now this next one will go right next to that. Make sure that it looks like a little rainbow kind of thing. So just make sure the arch is upright, and this is a straight edge along your bottom of your blanket. And then we're just going to sew this one on next, and just sew on the rest of these on this row. That's the last row of this blanket here. And then once I have all these all sewn on, then I will show you how to make the panda faces, and then we'll do the border. Alright, so I just attached here, and you can see how cute the pandas are looking already. I started making some of them, and I'll show you how to make one of them, and you can make all of these pandas the way you want. Or you could have left it just plain and simple and not done the panda and just the pandas and just had plain circles, and then we can do the border. But I'm going to show you how to make a panda face. Actually, it's going to be this one I'm going to show you, because the eyes will be all the same, and then if you want to wink or have it a sleepy face, I'll show you how to embroider an eye. So I'll show you a regular eye, open eye, and then an embroidered eye, and then I'll show you the mouth and nose and the ears. Okay, so we have 7 pandas, and I'm just going to show you this one way up here, but this is what your blanket should look like so far. So just remember, like I showed you this bottom, this is where we left off here, and then I just made the pandas off camera, but I'll show you how to make them now. So let's fold this up and set it aside. We are going to grab the black and white yarn, and let's grab our crochet hook, same size, H crochet hook, and we are going to start off with the black. We're going to make the ear first. So let's make a slip knot. So put your short end over your long end, then fold that down, and then pull that through and pull it tight. Insert your hook. And to start the ear, we are going to chain 2. So yarn over and pull through 1 and 2. And then in that second chain from the hook, we are going to put 6 single crochets. So go in, then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, that's a single crochet. So again, go back into that same chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. There's 2. Here's 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Now I'm going to work in continuous rounds. If you want to, you can slip stitch and chain 1 to go on your next round, but let me grab a stitch marker way over here. Just a random piece of yarn to mark my rounds here, and we are going to work in the back loops only. So if you want to, you can work in both loops. Here we have both loops, both loops, both loops. The loop that's behind or furthest away from you right here is the back loop. I know it's hard to see with black yarn, but the loop that's closest to you in front here, this is the front loop, okay? And then that one that's furthest in the back is the back loop. So that's That's the one we're working in. So we're going to go on to round 2 of the ear. We are going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around, in each of the back loops here. So go into this stitch here, back loop only, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, go back into that same stitch, and make another single crochet. Okay, so there's 2. Go into the next stitch and put 2 in there. 1 and 2. And then 2 single crochets in the next, in each stitch around. So you'll have a total of 12 single crochets at the end of round 2. So I'm almost there. You can just continue watching me, and then we can go on to round 3. Here, just 1 stitch left. 1 and 2. So if you need to count back around, you should have 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Move that stitch marker up. And now for rounds 3 and 4, we are just putting 1 single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 12 single crochets for each round, rounds 3 and 4. And I'm working in those back loops only. So just do that all the way around for rounds 3 and 4, just single crochet in each stitch, and then it'll start to bowl up. You can see it's starting to bowl up for me. And once I finish round 4, I'll meet you up. We can fasten off and make another one. Alright, so I just did rounds 3 and 4 off camera here. We just need to slip stitch into the next stitch to fasten off. I'm going to go under both loops. You can see front and back loop there. I'm going to go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on the hook, just like that. And then to fasten off, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to cut our yarn long for sewing, and then we're going to continue to pull that all the way through that chain 1 right there. And then pull that tight. We can remove that stitch marker if you used one, and there is an ear. You just need to flatten this and then shove that straggler inside if you have a little straggler. Okay, and then kind of stretch it out and shape it so it looks like an ear. Make sure, there we go. Okay, and then all I need you to do is just make another one of these. If you are, obviously you're going to have to make more than one. You're going to have to make 14. 14 of these total. So I had all mine made and I sewed them on, so I have 2 here for the last panda that I have to make, or your first panda here. So 2 for each panda, 2 ears for each panda. So once you have these made, we're going to set these aside and grab the black yarn again, and we're going to make the patch that goes behind the eye. So those are all the same as well. So let's start off with a slip knot. Okay, and you're going to have to make 14 of these ones as well, so I'm just going to show you one and then you can make the rest. We are going to start off by chaining 4, so yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to put 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. The loop on the hook doesn't count as a chain, so count 1 and 2. The second chain here, we are going to go into that chain, make a single crochet, and then go again back into that same chain and make another single crochet. So there's 2 single crochets in that second chain from the hook. We have 2 chains left, 2 chains. We're going to put a single crochet in the next one, just 1 single crochet in there. And then the last chain here, we're going to put 2 single crochet stitches. So 1 and 2. So row 1 of this patch of the eye is going to have 5 single crochets across row 1. Going right on to row 2, let's chain up 1 and turn our work around, and we are going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch across. So it might be a little difficult for you to see the black stitches, but there should be 5 single crochets across for row 2. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, just like that. So there was row 2. Going on to row 3, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work around. We're going to be making half double crochets in this row. So for row 3, we're going to yarn over, go into this very first stitch right here, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 of the loops on your hook. Okay, that's a half double crochet. In the next stitch, we are going to half double crochet, so yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. In the next stitch, it should be the middle stitch of this row, we are going to slip stitch in there. So go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through tight. Okay, just like that. And that is a slip stitch. And now in the last 2 stitches, we are going to half double crochet in each one of those. So that middle stitch will dip down in there because we slip stitched, and these are tall stitches. So you'll see more of a dip in that center there, which is what we want. Awesome. Now going on to the next row, which is actually just single crocheting around this piece, we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work. And to start off row 4, we are going to single crochet into these first 2 stitches, 1 and 2. We're going to skip over that slip stitch right there and then single crochet in those other 2 stitches, 1 and 2. Okay, and now we're going to turn this like this, and we're going to work down this side and just single crochet basically wherever your hook will fit. Just put a single crochet. There should be about 3 on this side, and then at the bottom here, I'm turning this like this. We're going to go into the bottom chain, the foundation chains. We are going to single crochet in each one of those, and then up the other side we are going to single crochet up this side, which should be 3 more stitches. Okay, and you can see I was working over the top of this straggler, so I don't have to sew that in later, so that's nice. And then to fasten this off, we're going to go into the first single crochet of this round, go into there, slip stitch, so yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to cut our yarn quite long for sewing and pull that all the way through that chain 1 and pull it tight. And you can kind of see that this is bowling up and it's not flat. We are going to stretch it out. Stretch it, stretch it, stretch it. Just like that. And then make sure at the top here that this kind of goes in just a little bit where that slip stitch was, just so we have a little bit of a divot. Okay, it kind of looks like a kidney bean or something. So anyway, we're gonna cut this little straggler here so you don't have to sew that in. Okay, so we want to make 14 of these. So I have another one made over here. Okay, same one, just like that. So now we have those patches done. So we need 2 for each panda. And now I'm going to show you, I'm going to set these ones aside. And for the eyes, I'm just going to show you one eye and then we'll embroider the other eye. This is very simple. It's round 1 of the ear. So we're going to make a slip knot with white. Now we're working with white yarn. And with our hook, we are going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then in that second chain from the hook we're going to put 6 single crochets. Okay, just round 1 of the ear. 1, 2, here's all my tangled mess here, sorry. 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet. So if you need to count back 6, go into the first single crochet, yarn over and pull through, and then chain 1, cut your yarn kind of long for sewing and pull that through and pull it tight. Now if you have a hole kind of in the center there, a mini tiny hole right there, what you can do is take that straggler from the center and from our slip knot and use your yarn needle and kind of close that center if you want to. You don't have to, because the black yarn we're going to use to embroider the pupil is actually going to cover that, so you really don't have to do that, but for peace of mind I'm just going to. And then you can cut that short. Just be very careful with your scissors. Oopsie, just like that. Okay, so if you want to, whatever eyes you want to make, that is the white part of the eyes on the pandas that have open eyes. Now I'm going to bring my blanket back into focus here. Okay, and we are going to use the pieces that we made to make our panda face. So you can see here the eye part. If you want open eyes on this panda, we have 2 open eyes. Okay, so I'll show you how to embroider the black part here. But we made the eye patches and then the white part of the eyes, and then we're going to embroider the black part here. And we're going to embroider the nose and the mouth on all of our pandas, and then we made 2 ears, which I'll show you how to sew on because they're 3D and really cool. So those are those eyes, and then for these eyes, the ones I'm going to show you a winky one, but if you want to use the same skills for that to make closed eyes, we're just going to embroider kind of half circles here, and same, you can use embroider skills to make a yawning face, an open mouth, or a regular mouth there. So those are some of the pandas I've already made. You can make all the same expression, all different expressions, totally up to you. And there's one hiding in there. There's a cute one there too. So now this one way at the top here, I'm going to show you how to make this one. So let's grab our ears. Let's start off with the ears. Okay, we're going to yarn our needle. Okay, and then we're going to position these ears kind of at the center top here. So if you're looking at this circle here, we're going to go right here and right about there. So right at the top, just eyeball it basically, and we're going to go into one of the stitches on the white piece, okay, at the edge. Then you can see I folded it forward here. We're folding it forward, okay, and we're going to go through 2 of the stitches, both layers of the ear, and then back through that same stitch. Okay, and then just pull tight. Then go to the next 2 stitches on the ear and the next stitch on the white part. Okay, and you're just whip stitching this. Next 2 stitches here, both layers there, as you can see, and then the next stitch of the white. And we're just going up this side. Okay, once you're at the top here, you can double up on stitches if you want to, have that space between the ears. That's totally cool. Once you're done, we're going to pull this through the loops here. Okay, I'm going to keep my finger, my thumb, in this loop, and then I'm going to come back through this loop like that. Okay, and then remove my finger and pull tight, and that creates a knot. And then to get rid of this and hide this straggler, I'm just going to go up into the ear in the inside there, and then cut that little strand and then stretch it out to hide that inside. And there's an ear. Fabulous! So now we are going to grab the other ear and sew that one on. And then for the eye, I'll come back, I'm going to sew this one on, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to embroider the black part of the eye, and we'll attach the eye to the panda face. Alright, so I just attached this ear here, so now we're going to put the eyes on. So what we're going to do is grab this one eye patch here and set that down. We're going to embroider black into this little piece here. So I'm going to grab my black yarn. Okay, that's attached to my ball of yarn here. And I'm just going to yarn my needle with that. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to go from the back side. Okay, you can see I'm going from the back side here. And we're just going to go up to the top there, kind of making a line. Okay, just make sure not to get this strand all tangled up in there. Okay, and then we're just going to go back and forth, or not back and forth, but just around and around, I guess. Just going from this bottom to this top. Okay, and soon you'll have to, play around with it, but soon it'll look like an eye. I went around, I think 4 or 5 times. whatever you're comfortable with. There, I think that's good. Awesome. So that was about 4 times. So now what we're going to do is cut this a little bit shorter and then tie these. Let me get all this out of the way here. We're going to tie these 2 strands in a knot in the back. Okay, you could do a double or triple knot, it doesn't matter. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is cut those shorter. Be careful with your scissors. And then what we're going to do is grab our little eye here, and we're going to position it where we need it to be. Now if you want it to be this on this side, you want it to be more on this side then. Okay, if you want the eye to be on this side, then it has to be more on this side. So that's really, you know, your personal preference. So I'm just going to position it where I want it. And then we're going to take our yarn needle and yarn our needle with the white, the long strand that we cut. And we're just going to sew this to the black patch piece. So I'm going to actually post it like this. Okay, so we're just going to go in and then out around the edge of this white part of the eye. Okay, and then you want to end on the inside or the back side of this eye. Okay, so it's all attached. You want to end on this side here. And then what we're going to do is go under a couple stitches. Okay, and then keep your finger in that loop and then come back around through that loop and pull. And remove your finger, and that ties a little knot. And you can do that once or twice. And then we're going to just sew in this end behind that white part of the eye so that we can cut that a little shorter. Okay, and now we have to sew this onto the panda face. So let's just, we're going to sew this on exactly how we sewed on this white part. So we're just going to position this on the panda face here. I'm going to keep my hand on the inside here. Okay, we're going to go in to the panda and then out this black piece, this eye patch. Okay, and this part you'll have to really maneuver and move around the blanket to be more comfortable for you, because it was kind of difficult to like turn and move around everything. Okay, and we're just going in and out just like that. And then you want to end on the inside or the back side of your work. Okay, so that's what the eye looks like. You can kind of maneuver, push it, like stretch it out, whatever. There. It looks so silly right now. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this over to the back side of my blanket, and we are going to tie this off. So just go underneath a couple stitches, just like I showed you before. Put your finger in the loop and pull that through, and then do that again. Okay, and then we're going to go underneath some of these stitches to hide this end, and then cut the yarn. Awesome. So now, flipping that back over, there is our panda eye. So you can do that for other panda eyes. Where are they? There's that one. So you can do both of them like that or one like that. But now if you want to embroider the other one, so we have one winky face, one winky eye, we are going to grab our white yarn. And this is super simple. We're just going to go from the back of that eye patch here. Let me make sure I have it right. Sorry, I'm checking my work. Okay, so we're going to go in up here. Okay, and then we're just going to go back in over here, and we're going to kind of just make a V. Okay, and then come back through to this side, and then go back through to the point. Boom, that was easy. How easy was that? So there's a winky face. So now we're just going to take this to the back. We're going to cut our yarn short and tie these two strands in a knot. And then we're going to cut them even shorter. And then we're going to place this one right next to it. I'm going to sew it on exactly how I sewed on this one. And then I'll meet you back up and we will embroider the nose and the mouth. Alright, so I just sewed on this other eye here, so now we have a cute little panda so far. So now we just have to make the nose and the mouth here. So let's grab our black yarn, and we are going to yarn our needle with that. Okay, and we're going to start from the back. Here, let me get my blanket all situated here so it's easier for me. Okay, so we're going to start from the back of our work, and we're going to go into that center, that round one of the circle. Okay, right there, we're going to go in from the back. Okay, and we're going to pull a lot of yarn. Okay, and we're going to try to make a nose. Let me see if I can try to do this on camera. We're going to go in here and then out here, kind of like a triangle, and then go back up into the center. Sorry, this is going to be so difficult showing on camera. But I'm trying to show step by step on exactly what I'm doing, so hopefully you benefit from this. So then we're just going to continue going around and around. Okay, so I'm going in from the bottom and then out through the center. And kind of just trailing this along, making sure that it looks good. And we're just trying to make a triangle. And you're going to have to do like, I don't know, 30 wraps of this. So you don't have to watch me do the whole thing. But just continue wrapping it just like this. It's going to take a lot of trial and error. A lot of my noses turned out differently, as you could see in this piece. But they all have character, and I think that's really good that they each have their own little panda personality. So that's no big deal. But if you are perfect on embroidering, good luck. And there, see how ugly that is right now? Don't worry, I'll fix it. I'm fixing it. As you can see. That one, yeah, see, that one's a good nose. That one's an okay nose. I'm just looking at the other noses now. That one's pretty decent. Decent noses. If you wrap like a lot, like if you do a lot of wraps, yeah, that one's just okay. Then you can't even tell. Ooh, okay. Let's see here. Oopsie. It's like getting panda nose surgery. Okay, there we go. And I think I just need one more wrap to close up that little area. And then we can embroider the mouth. Sorry if this is boring, you can fast forward this part. Okay. There we go. So now for the mouth, that's alright. Okay, for the mouth, we are going to go into the center of this nose, right here at the bottom, and then we're going to come back down here. You know what, that nose kind of looks terrible. You know what, I think I'm going to go up one more. I'm sorry guys, I'm seeing it on my big screen and it looks really bad, so I'm just going to do one more. I'm sorry. Just wait. I'm just not happy with it. There we go. Okay. So let's start over. The mouth, we are going to go from here, okay, the center, and we're going to pull this yarn, okay? And then if you want to, you can stretch out your yarn to make your nose look better. And then we're going to come down to the next row right here. And then we're going to come out this side. Don't pull too tight. We're going to go back into the black yarn, okay, into the yarn itself, and then out to the back, and then out to this side here. And then back to the center, and up to the top. Okay, and then if you want to continue with the nose and fix your nose some more, you can. That looks fabulous. It's a fabulous nose and mouth. Awesome. So now flip it to the back side. Okay, we're gonna work this. There we go. And there we go. Okay, so flip it to the back side. Cut your yarn short. Tie these two in a knot. And you'll really have to practice. I kind of did it really fast for the camera, but I'm tying this in 3 knots, okay? And then we are going to take our yarn needle with those 2 strands, yarn our needle with those. To hide these, we're going to wrap them on the back side of the nose. So we're going to go around and around. And then cut any extra, and there it is, our panda face. How fabulous. And then you can take your needle here and kind of shape your mouth a little bit, kind of stretch out the bottom there. There you go. That's so cute, it's like winking at us. So there's that one. And then for this one down here, I kind of just did the embroidering, just did the nose, how I showed you, and then I came down, and then I just went around to each little section, and then came back around to cover the white sections, and then went back up into the nose. Okay, so that's the yawning face, but all of these other ones have like little smiley faces or straight faces. So those are all the pandas. And also for these eyes, like I said, with the basic embroidering skills that I was just showing you, you can make just a half circle kind of thing and make nice closed eyes. So I'll have to fix that one there. So those are all the panda faces. You can, you know, look at the photos and see the panda faces and kind of get a guide on making your panda faces on your blanket. Or you can just opt out not to do any pandas, and we can just go on to the border next. So grab your black yarn and your crochet hook, and we're going to start in this corner here, and we are only single crocheting around the edge, and we are going to start just in this corner right in here. And we're going to pick up some black yarn. You can use any color you want, really. And then we're going to chain 1. And in the corners, in the corner stitches, we are going to put 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And then in the next round, the middle single crochet of that corner is going to be our corner stitch, and we're going to put 3 single crochets in there, but that's for the next round. For each stitch on the sides, we are going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch, okay? And on each side, we are only working in the half circles. So when I say that, we are not working when these big big circles meet in the center here. We're not working in those. We're only going to work in this stitch of this half circle and then hop to the next stitch on the next half circle and just work on the half circles. And even down the sides here, You can see here, we're only working in the half circle stitches, or half circles only on the side. Okay, you can see the full circle is right here. We are not going to be working in those stitches at all throughout this whole border pattern. So we're just putting one single crochet in each stitch of the straight sides of our half circles. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. I'm just going to single crochet, and then in each corner stitch, we're putting 3 single crochets. So I'm going to single crochet all the way around this, and then I'll meet you up. I'll show you how to close this round 1 of the border, and then I will meet you up and we'll go on to round 2 of the border. Alright, I just came back around, so I did, in each corner, as you can see, I did 3 single crochets in each of the corners. So from here on out, I'm just going to show you, you can do as many rounds of the border as you want. I'm just going to do 2. So we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet. I'm using the wrong hook, silly me. Okay, so we're going to go into the first single crochet, if we can find it. Black yarn is so difficult to work with. There we go. So go in, yarn over to pull through, and then pull through that loop on your hook. And then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet into the stitch until we get to the corner stitch, the middle single crochet. So I'm just going to single crochet in this first stitch here. And then for each round after this, you're going to have to single crochet in an extra stitch before the corner. So the corner is right here, this middle single crochet of the corner. We're going to put 3 single crochets in there for however many rounds you're doing. I'm just going to do these 2 rounds. So in each corner, middle single crochet, we're putting 3 single crochets. And then we're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch on the sides. And then when we get to the middle single crochet of the corner, we're going to put 3 single crochets in there. And then we're just going to continue that all the way around. And then when I finish round 2, I am going to fasten off. But if you want to, you can continue the border and make yours bigger, just repeating round 2. So just do that. I'll meet you up at the end of round 2, and I'll fasten this off, and we can enjoy our beautiful blanket. Alright, finished with round 2. I'm going to fasten off at this point, so I'm going to go into the first single crochet, yarn over, pull through and through for a slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 1, grab our scissors and cut our yarn, and then pull that all the way through that chain 1 there and pull tight. And then I'm going to grab my yarn needle and just sew in the rest of any ends that are loose. Just make sure you sew in all of your ends, you know, as you go. It's a lot easier than having to deal with them at this point when you want to just enjoy your beautiful blanket. You can just sew in this one last end and then cut any extra, stretch it out. And if you need to, you can block this piece on a board or a towel or something and pin it down and spray it with some water. But there it is! Lovely! I'm so happy it's done. Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this roly-poly panda quilt. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So make sure, if you did learn something and you made this, make sure to smash that like button, and also visit my website. There should be a screen here with my face. You can visit my website. You can subscribe to my channel here in the corner of your video. A subscribe button will come up, or you can check out the next video, which will be up in the top corner here. You can check out the next video or rewind this and watch this all over again. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a panda-rific day. Happy hooking!